Thanks, everyone, for listening to this special edition of the Lit Fix blog on womansday.com. We're here with best-selling author Meg Cabot, known for The Princess Diaries, and Meg has a new book coming out called Insatiable. Can you tell us about that?
Well, Insatiable is a little bit of a departure for me. It's actually an adult book, and, well, I mean, it's written for adult readers, and you'll find it in the adult section of the bookstore. And it's actually a paranormal romance, or what I'm calling girl gothic, actually. And it's more of a, I guess you could call it a vampire romance, although the heroine of it isn't into vampires. She actually is a writer for a soap opera. And
awesome.
I know. Her bosses decide that the soap opera is going to go all vampire. And she's a little depressed about it because, you know, she actually has a secret. And her secret is that she can tell how everybody's going to die. And the last thing it's actually kind of a bummer. I mean, you know, to know how everybody's going to die and have that burden and be trying to tell people and warn them. And nobody believes her, like, when she tells them.
Yeah, that seems like more of a curse than a gift sometimes.
It actually is. It's kind of based on the Cassandra myth from Greek mythology where, you know, Cassandra's always telling people what's going to happen in the future and no one believes them. My heroine, Mina, has the same thing. And so the whole vampire thing, she's like, no, come on, you gotta be kidding me. And then she actually runs into a real life vampire. And she can't tell how he's going to die because, you know, he's already dead, but she doesn't know that. So she thinks, oh my God, I finally met a guy who's like, doesn't have an expiration date, and she's so excited, and then, oh, disaster strikes. So it's kind of, it's humorous, but it's kind of got, you know, a lot of drama, and of course there's a lot of horror and violence as well.
Yeah, it sounds really fun. And obviously vampire novels and vampire themes are huge these days. Have you always been a fan of the genre, or was it just something new that you picked up?
I have to say, I actually worked in the 90s in a dorm at NYU when Interview with the Vampire came out. And so, you know, when people are like, oh, vampires are so in right now, I'm like, you know what? No, they've always been in. They've been in for a long time. And kids in the dorm were super into, you know, Lestat, and they used to actually have these weird parties where they'd like suck each other's blood, and hepatitis started going around the dorm where I worked, and the New York City Board of Health had to shut down. And so I'm like, you know what? This isn't as bad as it was in the 90s. This is kind of fun because girls are like throwing their underwear. Rob Pattinson, this is like light vampire stuff. And I actually kind of had a lot of fun with the whole research and the Bram Stoker thing, and actually Lord Byron wrote a vampire story back in the, you know, 1816, and so I'm like, this has been going on for a long time. This is really not that big of a deal. So.
Right, so I mean, it seems like there's a lot of historical context for that genre. So do you think it's a passing trend, or do you think it's sort of something that's here to stay?
I'm like, it's not a trend, it's a tradition. And really what writers do, and I was actually reading the Entertainment Weekly, and Joss Whedon put it really great. He said, you know what, we just put our own spin on it. Because it's been around for thousands of years. The Hebrews, the Romans, the Greeks, they all had vampire stories. It's something that's been around forever, and it's never gonna go away. So my thing is kind of like with my heroine, she's like, you know what? Why would you choose to be dead? Like, why? And I'm like, that's really, you know what? So it's kind of a different take on it, because that's something that she's had to deal with her whole life, is knowing how people are going to die and being like, oh my God, please, please don't do this, because I know what's going to happen to you, and no one believes her. And so, you know, then, of course, the vampire slayer comes to her house and is like, guess what? Your boyfriend is dead. And she's like, what? Is he married? What's going on? And so it's kind of humorous, but at the same time, then she gets involved with this vampire slaying society, and it's really upsetting, because it is kind of like the question of why would you choose to be, like, immortal? Why would you choose to be dead? And it's a little bit of a different take.
Right, no, it's an interesting twist on, you know, obviously with Twilight and True Blood, you know, there's a lot out there, so I think it's fun that you're taking.
But I love it. I love all of it. I think it's really fun. I love Buffy. I love, you know, The Lost Boys. I mean, I've always watched all those stories, because kind of they were always kind of forbidden, because my mom was like, oh my God, why are you watching that? It's so scary.
So tell me, you know, is it the female characters in this book? I know that there's Mina, and she has these special powers, but you know, was it important for you that they be strong in a certain way or powerful in other ways?
Well, yeah, I mean, to me, I think it's really funny in this kind of incarnation of the popularity of vampires that women are right now becoming kind of the breadwinners of families, kind of in this recession that we're having. It's really funny that women are coming out as the people who are kind of earning more. A lot of women are more higher educated in their families.
Definitely.
And then there's these books that are kind of super popular about these super rich vampires. They're like, oh, honey, you know what? I'll take care of you, and you don't have to work. And not all the books are like that, but some of them are. And yet they're super popular. And it is kind of like this fantasy that this big, strong, rich guy is going to come and take you away. And I can totally see why that would be appealing right now, because so many women are working so hard to take care of their families. And I'm like, that would be okay if this super rich aristocratic guy came and was like, come on, let's go. You don't have to worry about the bills anymore.
Yeah,
but that's also like a really old kind of trope in vampire fiction. That Lord Byron wrote a story about that in 1816 about a vampire kind of based on himself, but because he was that guy who actually impregnated a lot of virgins and then ditched them. And so it's interesting. I just find the historical context really interesting. But I am more interested in women who realize that that's not going to work out ultimately in the end.
Definitely, definitely.
You do kind of have to take care of yourself.
Exactly. Well, I think everyone's going to be really excited to read Insatiable and get your take on the genre. And just real quick, tell us what you have coming up next. Are you working on any new projects?
You know what I am? I have a new YA series coming out for teens. It's very dark. It's called Abandon, and it is actually kind of the same sort of twist. It's about a girl who's kidnapped by the Dark Lord of the Underworld. Yeah, release the Kraken. No, I'm kidding. He doesn't actually say that. But it is based on that myth of Persephone, and it'll be out next spring. And I'm also maybe working on a sequel to Insatiable, because, some of the vampires do die, but some of them don't. So we'll see.
Sounds really exciting. Well, thank you so much, Meg, for speaking with us today, and I'll definitely look out for the book.
Okay, thanks a lot. It was good talking to you.
Thanks.